Hey everyone, so the month of racing has ended. I'm gonna try and keep this relatively short, and honestly I don't know if it's gonna be a full-on race recap because I feel like there's more to it than just that, but obviously the month itself did not go entirely how I wanted. Just from the beginning, the Milwaukee recap is up. You can go watch that, and that gives a little bit of detail about that disastrous day. And had 2 weeks to try and recover and be good in Singapore and Finland. And body was pretty slow to come around after that, honestly. And Singapore, the travel was pretty smooth. A couple days before the race, wasn't feeling myself, but seemed like jet lag. And then the race itself felt decent in the swim. First couple laps, felt good on the bike, and actually let the group ahead go, tried to settle into my pace, and just kind of continued to fade back from there. Although I did feel like I had a bit more fight in me, and my body was responding a bit better than in Milwaukee. And after that, made the travel to Finland, tried to just forget about that race and the heat and all of that and focus on a much cooler race in Finland. And again, did not feel myself, picked up a sickness, it seemed like, that seemed mainly from the neck up. And honestly, I felt like I was good by race day. Saw my sleep metrics go up, felt much better. The swim was pretty solid and came out right at the front. And then the bike, I pushed really good power, what I feel I should be holding for the first 45 minutes. And then that pretty much took it all out of me. Right when I connected with the front group, I then got dropped. And from there, I just went backwards. And again, felt like a bit more of an improvement on Singapore. But obviously, these races are way off from where I feel I should be, from where I want to be, and are way different from the first half of the season where, Oceanside, I was still contending, even though it wasn't the best finish. Ibiza in the PTO Tour, I was top 10. I was fighting for spots there and going really well. And then in Roth, obviously, the peak of the season went super well. So I think the main thing here is there's a lot to be learned. And these videos are always the hardest, I think, because, a race doesn't go well. And for me, it seems to be like, it either goes really well or it's like almost catastrophic at times. And filming these race recaps, reliving them, I think it's important to talk about the bad races, but nobody really honestly likes to listen to it that much. And talking about it kind of sucks too. And I think the main thing, and what I've been working on with a mental coach and everything too, and people always say that failures are good. Like you should fail. Like if you're not going for it, then there's no chance that you're gonna fail. So failure is a part of the success. It's just when you're in it, it seems like it's the worst thing, like failure. And I kind of even, I'm hesitant to even call these failures. It's all just learning experiences. And this is probably one of the first times in my career too, where, last year just was really tough in, hindsight. We really had to dig into it to figure out why was I, not having the results that I wanted to. And we were able to figure it out and come back. And, I think this year going through it all, it was tough. There's disappointment in not having the result, but I think it's a lot easier to see all of the learning that comes from these, shortcomings that happen. And to me, it's also been put in perspective too. In I put a magnifying glass over my performance. I really look at them, expect a lot out of myself, and I put the most pressure on myself to perform. And I think sometimes I project that onto the outside world, and that's extra pressure that isn't needed. And I want to perform for my family, my team, and all of that. But I think that, in coming through all of this, coming out the other side of this, there's a lot that we've learned. And one of the main things is just how to come off of a full distance race like Challenge Roth. How do we get back into training? What sort of recovery is needed? And we went off the theory that we could ride that endurance through, the 2 months of training and racing after that and still be competitive throughout an entire half distance race. And we were half right and also half very wrong in the fact that the high end takes a lot out of me, and the endurance didn't last as long as we wanted, which left me riding at that intensity, feeling good for those first parts of the race, and then losing it all because I was just burning those matches. And yeah, I think that is just kind of the biggest takeaway from all of this, in that, you know, it's a relatively easy fix, in that I just have to dedicate myself to maintaining that high level of fitness for a longer period of time, especially with the way the seasons are shaking out, and having PTO, Ironman, Challenge, any other series that you want to throw in there, World Championships. And yeah, so with what the information that we had, we approached the races, I think, the best we could have, but it obviously didn't pan out the way we wanted. And now sitting here, this is about a week after Finland. It's honestly taken me a week to feel good. I tested positive for COVID. And so, you know, there's that lingering sickness that on and off. I honestly don't know if it's been in my system for a while or if I just picked it up on the flight home. But one of the best things about, you know, this year, I think, is one, that we executed, and we know how to execute on a one-day race when we really focus on it, like Challenge Raw. And now it's just figuring out how to maintain that peak. And for the first time in a long time, my off season, or a break, is kind of a forced break right now, has come in September, way early, and usually when, you know, I'm still planning on a world championship in a month or two, and I get to reset, and we get to lay a foundation for the rest of this year into next year, and we have so much time to plan. So that's kind of the short side of it, the breezing over some of the struggles, I guess, of this month. And we had really high hopes for being able to perform at a high level across all these races. And it just goes to show too, there's the meticulous planning and understanding that you have to maintain just a high level of performance over the entire year, especially with, you know, such a demanding race like Roth right in the middle. And honestly, like, I guess the results themselves hurt, but I put everything that we possibly could with everything that was thrown at us in the middle of the year and all this stuff going on, and made the most of all the opportunities. It just, you know, was way off of where I want to be. And sometimes it's good to have that little extra reminder and that little extra motivation, especially going into a long off season, because there's no complacency here. We know it has to be done, and just looking forward to doing it and really hitting 2024, because, you know, we got that Kona slot in our back pocket, and that feels like, you know, a big opportunity to me overall. So it's just a constant reminder too of there's honestly a lot of good stories coming out of the World Championships in this year of racing, but success is not always a straight line, and people say it, but until you live it and until you're on the other side of it, it's hard in the moment to always recognize, like, good things can come from this. There's still momentum to be built through this month, things that you can leverage in your mind and in your training and just your motivation and everything, and how you can use it. It's all a part of the journey. And that's why, you know, I sit here and I do these race recaps or talk about it after good or bad races, because it's super easy to talk about the good ones and everything that went right and dive into it so you can learn from that. But it's a lot harder for people to pick apart poor performances and go through that and, you know, really expose yourself and do that. So that was basically my month of August, which was super hard. And now I'm here, and I think that we have good data from the year, and I'm just looking forward to, you know, sinking my teeth back into it and just knowing, hey, this might be an obstacle, a blip on the radar, or you know, just a small portion of my career, and I'm just looking to use whatever happens, whether it's a success and a win, whether I was winning the world champs or whether I'm finishing, you know, whatever I finished in like 30th place or something. That's all gonna fuel the fire, build be momentum for me to keep pushing and keep chasing those big races and those big results. So thanks for following along. While it wasn't the month that we wanted, you know, that's how life goes sometimes. And yeah, it's going to be interesting here over the next 18 months, especially with it's looking to be a big year in 2024. So stay tuned. I appreciate all you guys who sit down and watch these videos. I love letting you in on some of the behind the scenes and how things work, how I handle things. So let me know if there's anything specific you'd like to see. We've got ideas, and yeah, just like, subscribe, comment. Love interacting with everybody. It was great to see everybody at the various races across the world, and there's going to be more coming up. So love it. Thanks, guys. Stay tuned.